Party on, Wayne.
Party on, Garth. Diddaloo, 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 diddaloo. It's still a successive celebration. Part of Crossover Radio Sports, the Crossover family. Back again, Billy Bell, Scotty O. A little more, keep your enemies closer. We're going to talk Tulsa Golden Hurricanes taking on Oklahoma State this Saturday afternoon, 2:30. Skelly Stadium, Marshall Dillon Field, something up there off 11th Street, Tulsa.
About to be named Super Pork Chop Stadium.
About to be taken over by a bunch of orange, then probably more orange than blue. But, you know, Bill, I have heard an awful lot of talk this week locally about, hey, you know, Tulsa, we saw them play Michigan State, and their defense is stout. And then they went out to San Jose State and won, and OSU's only favored by 14.5. I think it's going to be a tough game deep into the fourth quarter. I don't.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't know if people are just wanting to hype that or what, but I still think unless there's just a complete meltdown. Oh, and they were saying, well, it's a big game for Tulsa. Yeah, it's always a big game for Tulsa. I got some stats for you. That's like saying, Bedlam, it's a big game for OSU. Well, of course it is. It doesn't mean you're going to win.
I'm in agreement with most people that the Tulsa-Oklahoma State game, Tulsa-OU games need to happen every year, but it's never going to be a big game for Oklahoma State or Oklahoma.
No, it was a financial decision and a logistical decision that made sense both for Oklahoma State, for the city of Tulsa, for the relationship between Oklahoma. Hey, there's nothing bad about going and playing a game every other year right where Jinx and Union and Broken Arrow and Owasso are playing ball. And they've done so well. And Bixby, I mean, they got two kids coming out of Bixby that are lighting it up this year. But the game with Tulsa is interesting, Bill, in this regard. You know, obviously it's a rival. Tulsa's in its 120th season of football.
It's not the 150th?
120. They started playing football in 1895.
Can I tell you real quick how tired I
am
of all the list of 150 whatevers? Like, I'm done with that.
Yeah, but we talked about that,
right?
And then I read two of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't remember the latest one, but I'm like, really? We're doing the 100? Okay, I guess. Yeah.
Now, Tulsa and OSU have signed an 8-year home and home to be played between 2024 and 2031. It was a good decision for both schools to do. It's the 73rd meeting. Oklahoma State leads 40-27-5. OSU has won the last 6, including the two in Tulsa in 2000 and 2011. Tulsa's got a tough schedule, Bill. They have 7 bowl participants from last year on their schedule. Their win at San Jose State snapped a 13-game losing streak on the road for Tulsa. They had over 500 yards for the first time since getting 683 against UConn, who's in its last year, having signed its last will and testament with the American Athletic Conference. It's the 20th time in 52 games under Philip Montgomery that Tulsa's gained over 500 yards of total offense. And Shamari Brooks, his 9th career 100-yard rushing game, he's going to be the guy that's going to have to carry the load. They've got a defensive end, Trevis Gibson, has been really good creating negative plays for the offense. San Jose State, the kid had 4 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, minus 13 yards and a sack. Gibson was also tough against Michigan State, put pressure on the Spartans quarterback throughout the night. Sophomore Sam Crawford's playing time at receiver. He started in the Michigan State game, but he had 9 receptions, 137 yards, all pretty good sized plays, 10, 37, 14, 14, 18, and 27 yards. And this coach knows how to coach offense, Bill. Philip Montgomery. He was at Houston as the running backs and quarterbacks coach from 2003 to 2007. Then he was co-offensive coordinator at Baylor from 2008 all the way to 2014. So when Art Briles, despite the other troubles that he had, one of the troubles he didn't have was scoring points, and Philip Montgomery was the reason, a big reason for that. He then left Baylor and has been the head coach at Tulsa since then. He's gone 6-7, 10-3, and they won the Miami Beach Bowl. Last year 2-10, or 2 years ago 2-10, and last year 3-9. So he really needs to get it turned around. You know, Bill, it doesn't seem that many years ago, and I'm pretty sure you remember this. Tulsa actually went up to South Bend, Indiana, and beat Notre Dame.
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems like that was a long time ago.
It does. I also remember them beating OU, and
yeah,
I mean, it. Like I said, it's one of those games that should be on both teams' schedules. Is it always going to be a good game? No. I would guarantee you 1 out of these 8 years, Tulsa's going to give them a game.
Sure.
I'm not going to say they're going to beat them, but they're going to give them a good game.
Don't you think, Bill, that Tulsa would be now with Oklahoma State? They got a home and home, and that made perfect sense. I have some friends that didn't think it was great, but they're not the sharpest tools in the shed. But I would think that Tulsa would be more than willing to do a 2-for-1 with OU over an extended period of time. Like, say, they're going to play 9 times, and they're going to play 6 of them in Norman and 3 in Tulsa, something like that.
And you look at it.
You don't
this
think
way,
the OU fans that live in Tulsa wouldn't want a piece of that?
Well, and you look at it from the OU side or the Oklahoma State side of it. Having Tulsa on your schedule, and more often than not, they're at least going to be a 500 team. That looks a lot better than what Alabama's putting out there with the Citadel and all of them. I get it. I'm fully behind playing Tulsa every year. I wish Michigan would play Tulsa every year. I'm fine with it because they're a decent enough team to where it shouldn't hurt your schedule. You may get a year in there where they put off a 2-7 or whatever it may be, but
you don't have to be embarrassed to have a Tulsa on your schedule.
Most of the time, they're a fundamentally solid team that can give you a good game. The fan support on Tulsa, does it travel very well? Probably not. But
smallest school in D1 football.
Yeah.
They only have 4,000 students and change.
So that's maybe the tough side of having Tulsa on your schedule, but you've got to have them on there.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I think it's good for everybody. I completely agree. Bill, what do we got some time still?
We've got time.
Okay, because got something over here somewhere. Let's see. Oh, I've got to save part of that for your segment, just so I can at least pretend like I know what I'm doing. I've got the new college rankings out, Bill, and I thought it was interesting because I've got 3 of them. I've got Athlon, Amway, Coaches Poll, and the AP Top 10. And I just was looking at trying to compare where the discrepancies were. Interesting that the Athlon Top 25, Bill, has Alabama 1, Clemson 2, LSU 3, Georgia 4, Ohio State 5, Oklahoma 6, Notre Dame 7, Texas 8. I'm struggling with that. Utah 9, A&M 10. Boy, it must be somebody from Texas that put this thing together. Florida, Michigan. Michigan took a little bit of a fall, but how they could be behind 2 teams that lost is beyond me.
I'm okay. You stay undefeated, you still win this thing. So.
Penn State is 12, Auburn 13, or Penn State 13, Auburn 14, Oregon 15. And I don't have a problem with that. I mean, that was Wisconsin 16, Iowa 17.
Which loss do you think looks worse, the Oregon loss or the Texas loss? Oregon? On how they lost their ball game?
They didn't lose at home. I don't know.
Yeah, I know, but the way they lost, especially the second half where they really couldn't do anything, compared to Texas who seemed to turn it on, they just couldn't stop anybody.
Yeah, I think that's you ask really good questions because I think it really depends on your mindset. In other words, what constitutes a worse loss?
Right.
Are you talking about in terms of being able to recover and still be a playoff team, or just how it affects the way they're going to play
If you had
going
to pick
forward?
if you had to pick one, and I know it's early right now, that if we were starting to play off tomorrow, that has a possibility to win a game, because whoever it is going to be a 4 seed. Going up against, if you want to throw Clemson or Alabama that they're playing against, to beat Clemson or Alabama, do you think it's Oregon or do you think it's Texas?
It's Texas.
That's what I think too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I believe.
Although Sky Q picked Oregon, so it's Oregon.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. They'll probably end up playing each other. And
Yeah.
That's how that will go.
In the Super Pork Chop Bowl.
But anyway, the Athlon group also has Oklahoma State in the top 25 at number 22. Everyone else has them just out of the top 25. But the coaches poll and the AP poll are real close, Bill. Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, and the only difference is the coaches poll have OU 4, LSU 5. It's flip-flopped.
See, I would agree with one of those, with the one that had LSU at 3. I think they deserve to move up that high. Georgia really hasn't shown me a lot so far.
No.
If
it's based, you're right. If it's based on what they've done.
Honestly, you could make the case that LSU should be number 1 based on the 2 weeks so far. But I would move LSU up to 3. I think right now they're your number 3. If you want to put Georgia in at 4 after that, that's fine.
If you want to crown them, crown them.
Yeah, it's these.
Did you see the Tennessee
change.
Guy, Bill? The
No.
Tennessee Titan guy? I don't know who it was after they played the Cleveland Browns this past weekend. And they said...
and he
said...
Delaney Walker, I
Yeah,
think.
they are who we thought they were. If you want to crown them, crown them. What a great line.
Denny Green.
Yeah. Go ahead and finish what you were saying. But yeah, I just thought that was great.
Well, and these schedules, they come out every week, obviously, and they fluctuate so much. Most of the time, AP and coaches poll are roughly about the same, given 1 or 2 different moves. But if you really wanted to get super just nitpicky about everything and just washed away the names, so we gave everybody new names, and you looked at who beat who, I guarantee you LSU would be number 1 in everybody's poll.
Yeah,
based
I
on who
completely
they
agree.
beat.
I completely agree.
Bama and Clemson, they're going to be somewhere in the teens based on who they've played.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, not ha-ha funny, but funny to me is the fact that when is Clemson's opportunity to... is it Virginia? Is it Maryland? I don't know.
Well, and the true test...
Maybe North Carolina.
Yeah, the true test, and we probably already know this, if they do lose a game, how far do they drop? If they drop to 5, then we already knew it was coming. But if they drop to below below 10 or above 10, I guess, however you want to look at it,
around 10,
then it gets a little iffy for Clemson. Then it's can you make that up?
Yeah, and it's a great point, Bill, in that it looks like they've got this great pathway which shouldn't lend itself to a loss. But because no matter how great you are, it's hard to play at a high level every week.
Yeah.
If they do happen to falter, it may be a really bad loss.
Well, and that's where I think it's either going to take somebody coming up and just blowing the doors off of Bama, and which I think if Bama loses, even if it was a bad loss, they could still find their way to get in. For Clemson especially, it's going to take just a bad loss, or it's going to take 2 losses to knock them out of this.
Bill, what if LSU runs the table and Alabama doesn't lose other than to LSU, even at home? They're in, right? If they're 12
you're going to run in the same scenario where they got in that one year when they lost a game. It's going to take 2 losses or and I think Bama's a different case. I think they could still get in if they lost really bad. It's just it's not competitive this way, right? So you're judging it based on what fans think and computers think. When the computer is saying RPI that 10 other teams have a better strength of schedule, but we're still going to throw Clemson in there because of Trevor Lawrence. That doesn't make any sense. Or we're going to throw Alabama in there, even though so and so may be undefeated. because they've got Tua and they've won multiple national.
Yeah, and we'll sell more.
Sense.
We'll sell more, whatever it is, subscriptions or get more clicks, whatever it might be, because we've figured out that these two names mean something to people.
Right, and
not whether their team's deserving or not.
And I think that's a shame for college football. And could it be rectified? Yeah, it could, but it'll never be rectified. Let's be honest.
No, because it's a great cash cow the way it is now. That rhymed, by the way.
Cash cow?
The way it is now.
Oh.
With cash cow. That's like cash cab, but it's in Amish country.
Manufacturers of the super pork chop.
I've got Zeke and his wife behind us, and I'm getting ready to fire some questions at him.
Ooh, you know who should be our spokesman?
I'm waiting.
Who's really good at selling the super pork chop? Jason Witten.
I thought you were going to say Billy Blanks.
No, Jason. You don't remember Jason Witten and all those Albertsons commercials?
I do, yeah.
And hawking beef everywhere?
I do remember that. The Marble Fat marketer.
Yeah.
It's the other white meat.
Nobody sells it like Witten.
He had a catch, didn't he?
He did. He did.
Blake Jarwin.
He still got it.
Yeah, they
He's
looked
back.
good. I guess we'll have
He's
to talk
back.
about them later on. The star on the side.
Try not to. Try not to. You're listening to Excessive Sports on Excessive Sports.
I'm for that.
I merged it.
Yes.
All right. We just had a excessive baby.
Breach, because I didn't even see anybody's water break.
You're listening to Excessive Celebration on.
Is that a sports show?
It might be. At this point, I'm not even sure. I think they sell meat. I don't know.
We'll be back to talk third trimester.
Only on Crossover Sports. Chop up that app.